Good evening, dear friends. So let's get started by lighting the candle. Please rise. So once again, good evening, everybody. Now, my friends, welcome back to the Sutta discussion, day 6. So today we are going to discuss about Sammā Saṅkappa here. This part. All right. So let's pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu sammā sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu sammā sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu sammā sambuddhasse. Okay. Right. All right. So last Monday we discussed about the Sammaditthi, right? So you have a note for that. Probably you must have read at least a little bit, and then to get comfortable with the contents. Any questions before we proceed to the Sammā Saṅkappa? Any newcomers over here today? Newcomers for today? Many newcomers. Once again, let me see who they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Okay. Can you please close the door? Yeah. Door. Close the door, please. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So, what do you think about today? Then you need to then read the previous notes, and if you can go here, the notes have been given like day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 1 we just discussed, and day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. So please catch up. Otherwise, yeah, still should be okay. All right. So, what is the motivation for you to come today for the first time? How about you? Somebody let you know, or you found it?
I found it through the Facebook.
Okay, Facebook. Others? What was the motivation for you to? Through friends, or maybe a video? Others?
Over the weekend, I received a message.
Over the weekend you got a message, see?
From
Others? You just suddenly came here, you know? Fell down here? What happened to you? How did you know that there's a sutta discussion going on Mondays? Social media, internet, WhatsApp. Any friends recommended? Oh, no. Okay. No Kalyana Mitras, huh? See. Okay. So we discussed last Monday the first path factor. Actually, you are still okay, just started the first path factor, Sammā Diṭṭhi. So we need to start the Noble Eightfold Path from the Sammā Diṭṭhi. Sammā Diṭṭhi is the most important thing to get started with. As you can see over here, right view helps us to practice right intention. I would say Sammā Saṅkappa. What is right view? This is to other people who came here last couple of weeks. What is right view? Somebody tell me what it is. Because I want to know whether things really work for you. Otherwise, you come, listen, and write down, you go. I don't know what's happening. What is Sammā Diṭṭhi? Sammā Diṭṭhi basically means wisdom. So we already got the wisdom then, nothing to pursue. Sammā Diṭṭhi means? Initially, Buddha said views are no good, but we need some level of paññā to start the path, Noble Eightfold Path. It is not that highest wisdom, but we need a sort of background paññā to start the path. Right view has all the roots where all the virtues are going to be dependent upon. Right? You do sila, you do samadhi, they all come back to roots, Sammā Diṭṭhi. So if somebody is going to practice sila, samadhi without Sammā Diṭṭhi, that is not going to really work. It might work in your way, but one day it's not going to work for you because you didn't start with Sammā Diṭṭhi. In the same way, if you haven't practiced Sammā Diṭṭhi, you will never be able to practice Sammā Saṅkappa. Why? Because of the root of Sammā Diṭṭhi, there comes Sammā Saṅkappa. There comes Sammā Saṅkappa from the root of the Sammā Diṭṭhi. Let's see. All right. Okay. Saṅkappa. Now basically Saṅkappa is an intermediary between Diṭṭhi and Vāca. The fourth path factor is, not the fourth, third path factor is Vāca. Vāca means speech. Now this is what we will be discussing next Monday. So how do we create good speech? Through Sammā Saṅkappa, which is fostered by the Sammā Diṭṭhi. How come I am going to talk the truth? I am going to speak the good words to others, pleasant words to other people. How come I am speaking words that are connecting people together? How come I am going not to involve in gossiping, all that? Because I have already received, I have already acquired the right intentions. Without those intentions, our speech is going to be unwholesome. Now, if anybody thinks that you see that you lie to somebody, you talk behind the back, slandering, you talk very hurtful words, or you engage in gossiping or idle chatting, that means you haven't had Sammā Saṅkappa. That means you haven't had Sammā Diṭṭhi also. So they all are interconnected. Circle around too. All are interconnected. They are not separate standalone practices. If anybody is doing bad with their speech, that means that person does not have Sammā Saṅkappa. Because those bad words come from Micchā Saṅkappa. And those Micchā Saṅkappas come from Micchā Diṭṭhi. That is the reason. This is very practical. I am not trying to give you a lot of academic stuff. Just try to put you in the very simple layman language. So now see how interconnected they are. All right. So Saṅkappa, as you can see here, right view, right speech in between. That means in order for you to speak well, with wholesomeness, you must have cultivated Sammā Saṅkappa. That means definitely you must have started the practice with Sammā Diṭṭhi. Alright? Kappa, the word kappa, let's look at the literal meaning. Kappa. What is kappa? Anybody heard this term before? K-A-P-P-A. Kappa. Kappa is a word, we call it an adjective. Oh yeah, I have given the meaning. Alright. But what does kappa mean? Kappa means a time period. Right? A time period. Now, in many suttas, Buddha says that the kappa has no particular timeline. It is so long, it's more than trillion, definitely more than billion. Sansaric journey is like more kappas, right? So kappa definitely means a kind of a arranged, prepared something about a certain object. Now our certain object is here, the sansaric journey that has been going in a fixed way because we made a lot of tanha. So how do we understand Saṅkappa? Kappa means anything made with a definite object in view. Now you are trying to create a view with a definite object. Now that definite object is an intention. Right? That intention comes from a view that's prior to this, diṭṭhi, Sammā Diṭṭhi. Sammā Diṭṭhi or Micchā Diṭṭhi. That means right view or wrong view. Now let's take an example. Somebody thinks that I want to lie to somebody. How does the process work with this tree? Now lying happens at the level of vacha. So that is Micchā Vacha, right? Then how does lying start in his or her life? Then primarily that person has no Sammā Diṭṭhi. Because in Sammā Diṭṭhi, you are making sure that karma has karma phala. Let's see. Right. Noble. Yeah, I think that's somewhere. I think we did in one of the. Let's see. We discussed that under lesson 4, right? Day 4. Day 5. Be more post. Okay, day 4. This should be the introduction to the Noble Eightfold Path. Let's see here. Oh, no, should be last week, huh? 5th lesson. Yeah, day 5. Day 5. Where is it? Okay, this is Sakkaya Diṭṭhi. Where is Sammā Diṭṭhi? Alright. See? Let me show you. Now this is Sammā Diṭṭhi. You can see here there are results from good and bad actions. What does it mean? You believe in the karma. If you believe in the karma, would you lie? Huh? You will never lie. That means then you didn't have Sammā Diṭṭhi, then you came up with intentions to lie, then you lied at the level of vacha. Pretty easy to see the connection. Let's say somebody thinks that I want to kill, I want to lie, I want to steal, etc., any of the bad things, they all come from Micchā Diṭṭhi side. This is Sammā Diṭṭhi. But there is somebody who tries not lying, not stealing, not doing bad things. How does that work? Then here that person seems to have firmly believed about there are results from good and bad actions. That is why he or she is not doing it. That means Sammā Diṭṭhi is the predominant element of this practice. If you don't have it, the rest is not going to work. Right? Because there is that wholesomeness. From that wholesomeness, speech arises, actions arises, intention arises, everything arises. And then you kind of like expand your practice through samadhi. All right. So, kappa means, I would say, as I given here, anything made with a definite object in view or prepared arranged. Now here, Saṅkappa can be both good or bad, right? Saṅkappa is not always good, wholesome. Let's say someone wants to do a bad thing, it could be a Saṅkappa. It is going to be Micchā Saṅkappa. Good thing, Sammā Saṅkappa. Right. Generally speaking, what is simply a good thought or intention? If your thought, intention simply reflects reality as it is, without judgments or ideas getting in the way. Now first, let's see the translation. Now there are a couple of translations. Intention, thought, resolve. There are many translations. So we would pick intention because the reason is, in order for your whatever the mental things become a thought, there must have a connection to intention. Right? Intention part is very important. Before the intention, it could be the volition, but intention part is very important. So let's take it as intention. But some people take it as thought too. It is a stage also after the intention. Maybe some actions don't have intention, right? Are there any actions which have no intention? Karmaless actions. Does every action carry karma? Huh? Not really. Okay. Does every action we do carry karma pala?
What if the action is neutral? Either harmful or
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm asking the result. Karmas can come from, actions can come from different ways. But I'm asking, does every action create fruits?
yes.
Vipakas? Yes. Really? That is Micchāditthi. If anybody thinks every action creates vipaka, results, karma, that's a Micchāditthi. Buddha says no. Only if you have volition, cetana, then it creates karma. Right? Now say for instance, on the other hand, if you look at your sansaric life, what do you think about your previous life? Now even this life, if you live for 80 years in this life, what do you think? What do you think looking at that 80 years life, whether you have done most of the good things or most of the bad things for the 80 years? What is more? Tell me. Huh? Unwholesome things, akusalas. Just accept that. But if you go back to your reverse, to your sansara, why we became a human? From a good karma. Does that mean that we have done a lot of good karmas in the past? Maybe yes, maybe not. For the most part, maybe not. The reason was given in the Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma clearly says why, at the possibility of any being to do a lot of bad karmas, how come they are able to get good rebirths, good karmas? The reason is, when you do a good karma, you are creating, the good karma is very more powerful than the akusala karmas. Now don't think that I can do some akusalas. Right? If you do an akusala according to Abhidhamma, let's say you do a lobha, you do a dosa, there are 4 akusalas, akusala cetasikas, mental factors that are arising at the same time. Let's say you have remorse. Then 4 akusalas are simultaneously arising in addition to the remorse. If you do a good thing, 19 mental factors arising. We call them sobana sadharani. That means kusalas have more power. If they had no power, we must have been in the hells all the time. I just give you an inspiration, but don't try to hold on to that and do bad things. Huh? Just to tell you that this is what I see. 19 Chetasikas simultaneously arise. Let's say you have Saddha, you offer Dana. 19 other Kusalas arise at the same time. Because when your mind is mounted on the Kusala, a lot of other Kusalas arise. In the Abhidhamma they say, if you have Lobha, Dosa is not there. If you have Dosa, Lobha is not there. Yes, Dosa rises from Lobha. But at the moment when you are angry, you have no Lobha. Very interesting. Lobha works separately, Dosa works separately. But both work under the Moha. So when you have Akusala, even one Akusala, there are 12 Akusala thoughts, only 4 Akusala Chetasikas arise simultaneously. So the idea here is that in Buddhism there are specific teachings about karma. Not every action creates results. Very interesting. Hindu people, no, they do believe in a different way. Jains, they believe in a different way. Even Taoism, they say that devas are checking your all actions. Sikhism, they have same idea, but Buddha says no. Only actions that you have intention create vipakas. Are there any other actions that actions that do not create karmapalas? Yes. When you become an arahant, you offer flowers, you meditate, you are not creating any karmas at that point too. So they are karmaless actions. Karma actions are karmaless actions. Interesting, huh? So here, what is a good thought, right? Wholesome thought means that if your thought is going to align with the reality. Reality means seeing things as they are, because we do not normally see things that way. I would also include thinking patterns, some of the habits, attitudes also under Saṅkappa. They can be Sammā Saṅkappa, they can be Micchā Saṅkappa. Because when you form your habits of thinking since your childhood, let's say you were grown up in a very violent household. Parents were trying to beat you. Somebody was trying to misuse you. Somebody bullied you in the school. Sexually harass. Then what happens? Then those things are going to form some habitual thinking, compulsive thinking in you. So this Saṅkappa extends its field towards all these habits, thinking habits, attitudes. Have you seen some people who are very pessimistic all the time? If you just have a conversation, yeah, life is like this, it's not good, nothing is gonna work, we all are dying one day, we all die. We all die, we get sick, everything is anicca. A real person who truly looks at anicca never talks about it. Why? It's a mental thing. Why unless you are a monk or nun who is going to give a Dhamma talk? Because it's in your mind. A good person never boasts about his or her good stuff. Just as an educated person never boasts about their education. A rich person never tells how much money they have. Right? The opposite will happen. They don't have it, they're going to blow the trumpet, brag about it. So here, attitude. So there's a big connection to attitude when you have Saṅkappa over the course of time. If you look at yourself, what kind of mentality, what kind of attitude do you carry in your life that has certainly been affected from Saṅkappa? That means either from Sammā Diṭṭhi or Micchā Diṭṭhi. Sammā Saṅkappa, let's go directly there. Once again here, Sammā Saṅkappa follows directly from the right view, Sammā Diṭṭhi, as I said, because our thoughts or intentions arise from our perception of reality. If you see reality as it is, you will have no problem. But if you see reality through a haze of assumptions and unconscious judgments and concepts, it will lead to some pretty twisted thinking. So Sammā Saṅkappa is about looking into your thoughts and intention, I would say intentions, to see if they align with reality or not. Wrong intentions, Micchā Saṅkappa, arise out of delusion. Without knowing what they are, we cannot easily connect them. Go down. Introduction. Sammā Saṅkappa is the second path factor. It directly follows Sammā Diṭṭhiya. That one you have to keep in mind. It directly follows Sammā Diṭṭhi as it is the second factor. Right? What are the Micchā Diṭṭhis? Let's talk about the wrong side, bad side first. What are they? These ones. Kāma Saṅkappa, Vyapada Saṅkappa, Vihinsa Saṅkappa. Is the screen big enough for you to read? To the people in the back? Okay. Do something. Okay, maybe like this. All right. The first, here, should be here. Sorry. The first wrong intention is Kāma Saṅkappa. We discussed about Kāma one day. Remember? What did the Buddha say about Kāma? The Buddha said, people need to use Kāmas. What are the Kāmas? Rupas, sights, sounds, smells, taste, touch, and thoughts. They are Kāmas, right? Can we live without Kāmas? Of course not. But what does the Buddha say about Kāma here? It is the level you develop Kāmas into a greed. That is the issue. Otherwise, it's okay. You can use Kāmas. Right. So, here the first wrong intention, Micchā Diṭṭhi, is intention of lust, Kāma Saṅkappa, in the path, into this path. That means if you are, I would say, not using Kāmas, pleasures, in the proper way, then you will definitely develop greed. Right? That is the first wrong intention. Second, Vyapada Saṅkappa. Vyapada means ill will. What is ill will? No, ill will is not hatred. Dosa is hatred. Ill will means thoughts of destroying other beings, including oneself. This is followed by Pāṇātipāta. First you have that thing, right? Ill will means thoughts of destroying other people. We call it Vyapada. Now Vyapada is an intention, right? Intention of ill will. I want to put that person down tomorrow. I want to assassinate his character, her character. Right? I want to kill. Right? Those are really, really bad, I would say, terrible intentions in Buddhism. Vyapada. Then we will discuss them a little bit more as we proceed, but just to let you know what are the wrong intentions, what are the three wrong intentions. The last one is Vihinsa Saṅkappa, intention of cruelty, harassment. Now what does ill will create? Ill will leads you to harass other people, right? Attack other people. Do people attack other people without ill will? It can be, right? Because they have a karmaless actions, right? Sometimes you never know what you are doing. That is your problem too, right? You are not mindful. Huh? Sorry?
No intention.
Yeah, no intention. Let's say you are walking here, you never see a tiny creature over here, an ant. And you are stepping on the ant. But if you know that if somebody told you that there may be ants over here, then you're creating karma. But if you don't know, then you are not creating karmas. So Buddhist karma is such a very compassionate, very liberal karma, not like Hindu or Jains. Jains say no, every karma every action creates karma. So you have to give a lot of pain to the body, suffer the body. So the third wrong intention is intention of harassment, cruelty. It comes from that previous one, ill will. Now, if you connect this to a daily example, now someone is very much cordial, loving somebody else. Now something is going to happen. Then what happens? That person coming up with ill will. I want to do something for you. I don't like you anymore. Then ill will. Then the particular action going to harass you, going to hit you, going to assault you. See, it's all connected, right? Sometimes some people have these wrong intentions differently. They may have only Kama Saṅkappa. Sometimes if things are going to really work bad, they will also go to second one too, Vyapada Saṅkappa. Then they will also go to the third one. How many people in the prisons, correctional facilities are to say, oh, if I tolerated that 1 minute, that 1 second, I would have not been here. Very much regret about that moment. They were so much quick to respond, react to the people. I have heard from many who visit them. If I took 1 second, I would have saved, I would have not been here in the prison. And I save myself and that person. That means taking time is very important. Do not react to anything. Respond. When you respond, you take time. What is this? What's going on here? Now, even you talk to somebody, think about it. Don't hurt other people. Your reactions are the ones that would hurt other people. Responses are not. You think about it. Will this be okay to this person? Will this be okay to me? Right? Responses always create you a better person. I'm not saying everybody can be perfect, but at least a better person. Person who manages one's own emotions, thoughts, so on and so forth. Here, see again, greed and hatred spring from delusion. That means lobha and dosa come from moha. Now here, this part is lobha, right? Lust or greed, and then dosa is ill will. You can also say cruelty, third wrong intention too. Non-greed and non-hatred come from the right view. If you are somebody who is not becoming very much greedy or very much, I would say, turning to becoming somebody who has ill will, that means that is a result of practicing Sammā Diṭṭhi. Now, Sammā Diṭṭhi has to then practice, right? Sammā Diṭṭhi has to practice. How to practice Sammā Diṭṭhi? I think we discussed that. How do we do it? Do we need to go to a temple or a center or maybe an abandoned place? And now I practice 9 hours of Sammā Diṭṭhi, now I go back home. Then my practice is not there back again. I have to again go. No, you will do that too. But Sammā Diṭṭhi is a 24-hour 365 practice, because there are things you need to do at home. There are things you need to do in the temple. There are things you need to do on the road. There are things you need to do while cooking. It's a combined practice. Sammā Diṭṭhi is not a practice in a particular event. That event can help to have more knowledge, but in real practice, it is a practice that you have to work on at each place, in each circumstance. Because you will create akusala everywhere, right? If you are not coming up with akusalas at home, then it's okay. Then you can do everything in the temple. But more akusalas come from the household, outside of the temple. Now there you bring practice. This practice you need to bring over there. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You also cannot understand Sammā Vāca or Sammā Kammanta without Sammā Saṅkappa. These are actually, you can see here, without this, you won't be able to understand right speech, right action. What will happen to you is that you will do the opposite. Wrong speech, wrong action. Then the opposite, right intentions. What are they? Nekkhamma Saṅkappa. Nekkhamma Saṅkappa means intentions free from greed or lust. Avyapada Saṅkappa. Intentions free from ill will. Avihimsa Saṅkappa. Intentions free from cruelty. Are these very difficult, challenging intentions in our life? Are they? Are they very challenging to us? In reality, I'm not saying looking at a text. In reality means in your household, when you work with your friends, family, loved ones, your co-workers, is the practice of these three, coming up with these three, really challenging? Why is it? You don't have Sammā Diṭṭhi. If you have Sammā Diṭṭhi, you know how to do it wherever you are. If you don't have Sammā Diṭṭhi, if you try to do it only Sammā Saṅkappa, then it's a challenge. But if your mind is rooted in Sammā Diṭṭhi, you will find ways to do it. You know how to do it. It depends on your mindfulness and effort and right view. Let's talk about Nekkamma Saṅkappa. What is Nekkamma Saṅkappa? I think there is a certain place where we're going to be talking Nekkamma Saṅkappa, so let's leave it at this point. Sammā Saṅkappa is the best way to purify our intentions. Now, in other words, I would say this is the only place where you can purify your intentions. There's no other place. Our intentions are naturally connected to wrong intent. Now, say for instance, people who only think an Anapanasati practice will tell me everything, help me everything. Now they are taking the practice from the path factor here. They are taking from here, right? That means they are not conscious about the second one, right intention. Pretty difficult for them to concentrate. Pretty difficult for them to stay in the present moment. Why? Because they haven't come through the process. So, Sammā Saṅkappa is the best way to purify our intentions. Now, a lot of people talk about the Buddhist practice from, okay, we want to overcome our defilements. Right? Who made defilements? Our Micchā Diṭṭhi. So if we didn't have Micchā Diṭṭhi, if we had Sammā Diṭṭhi, so all the thoughts that arise should be good thoughts. You have heard like many books talk about you need to overcome your kilesas, overcome your asavas, overcome your upakkilesas. Why is it? Upakkilesas have already come. Asavas have already come into existence. Kilesas, defilements have already come into existence. Can we not create them? Which is better? Prevention is better than the cure, right? Can we prevent them? Yes, we can prevent. Only when we have Sammā Diṭṭhi. Then you create Sammā Saṅkappa naturally. But if you miss out those two, then you are struggling. You think, I want to refine my defilements. Right? Our intentions are naturally connected to wrong intentions. We are naturally drawn to the wrong ones. Kamas, Vyapadas, Vihinsas. We need to disconnect the unwholesome connection and connect our intentions to the right ones. This one I have sort of given natural way. Our natural thoughts, intentions are mostly unwholesome. Right? They are mostly unwholesome. But is our mind naturally unwholesome? When we were born, how was the nature of our mind when we were born? It's pure. Then how does mind get defiled? When we live, mind gets defiled because of the environment and sometimes even genetically too, right? Have you ever heard now there is a subject people study, generational anger. I would say those colonialists have colonized those countries. Now forefathers had anger. Now it has been passed down to their other folks. They all they did that to us. Inherited anger. That means, can this come to our children from this generation, from millennials to the next one? Shouldn't be. But when they hear the story, it could be. Yeah, it will. Because as a respect for the mother, father, they want to keep the negativity. Yes? Brainwash, maybe the way how things have been explained to them, right? So, on the other hand, like when we were born, our mind was very pure. But because as we proceed in our life, external things come to us. That bright mind, the mind which has luster, gets defiled. On the other hand, when you look at a baby, now baby is someone who does not kill anybody. Do babies kill other people? No. Do babies steal? Do babies misbehave? They don't know what other things do. Do babies lie? Do they lie? They never lie. Huh? Huh?
Most of the children don't lie.
Yeah. And then do they intoxicate? Then baby is a good virtuous person. Are they virtuous? Do they have sila? No. Sila is not avoiding by precept. Sila is your intention of not breaking. It's not just the avoidance of physical activity. Then babies are already sila.
How the karma come about? How that connect to the karma, previous karma?
Yes.
How karma connected to the
Babies?
Yeah.
Yeah, babies don't have intention of doing immoral or moral things, both.
Yeah, but the interaction of karma come about.
Karma ripens slowly. As that person, as baby grows gradually, karma ripens. But I am telling you that babies are not breaking 5 precepts. Right? Just because they are not breaking 5 precepts, are they having sila? No. Sila is intention. I am not killing because I know it's unwholesome. That is sila. I am not stealing because I know it's bad, unwholesome. I am not misbehaving, I know the repercussions here and after. I am not lying, I know it's unwholesome. I am not getting intoxicated, I know how unwholesome is that for me, for others. That means intention is very important. That is why it will turn to volition after that, become a karma. Right? So when you are asked by somebody, what is your sila? I don't do this, I don't do this. It is not the way. I don't do because of this thing. That is the way of focus of the sila. So intention is very much connected to the Saṅkappa. That means, do babies have Sammā Saṅkappa? They have no idea about it. Right? They are not mature enough to understand that. Alright, karma to nekkhamma. So we are going to transform karma to nekkhamma. That means greed to renunciation, ill will to non-ill will, then harassment to non-harassment, taking care of other beings.
Animals also don't break precept.
Huh?
Animals?
Animals, yeah?
They don't break precept?
Yeah, you are right. They don't have a thinking mind. Like as humans, they have a mind, but the capacity of that mind is very, I would say, very much limited. Yeah, that's why when you are becoming an animal, you are taking a very, long journey, right? Yeah. All right. So each path factor has to be practiced by 3 another path factors. What are they? You can see. Now we take right intention. It has to be practiced with right view, right effort, right mindfulness. How are we going to connect that? Now we need Sammā Saṅkappa. How do I find Sammā Saṅkappa? At this point, we already, suppose we have right view. Now we are at the level of intentions, creating intentions. Now at this point, even how do I separate out my wrong intentions from right intentions? Maybe right intentions from wrong intentions. Because I have to bring right view back again here. I know karma, lust, greed, ill will, then I would say harassment, right? Cruelty, they are wrong. So I'm going to separate that out. Then how do I separate that out? How am I going to be doing that? Because of Sammā Diṭṭhi. Then just because I know this is bad Saṅkappa, this is good Saṅkappa, can I still continue with my practice? No, not that easy, because I need some energy. I need daily energy, right? Because we always run out of energy on a daily basis. Then you are not doing well with your practice at that point, isn't it? You are lazy, you become moody. Somebody told you something that day, so you are very uncomfortable, embarrassed. Then your practice also will become very lazy, right? So that we must have right effort. Then not even right effort, right mindfulness is very important, because how do you spot, how do you identify, this is the moment, now I have lust, I have greed. Then right mindfulness helps all of you. This is the moment I have to practice Sammā Saṅkappa. That was a moment which I didn't have Sammā. So how do I come to that point? With right mindfulness. That means right view, right effort, right mindfulness. Sammā Diṭṭhi, Sammā Vāyāma, Sammā Sati, they all must be used by all of you to practice all these factors. At this point, Sammā Saṅkappa. Now let's talk about each Sammā Saṅkappa. First one. What is the intention of renunciation? Nekkhamma Saṅkappa. When you practice renunciation with your desires, I would say give up or discourage greedy karmas and associated likes, then you will develop Nekkhamma Saṅkappa. What is Nekkhamma? Let's talk about it. Has anybody ever heard this term? Nekkhamma? Where do you hear this word? We get to hear this word from the paramitas. Right? Paramitas. What are the paramitas? Paramitas are the prerequisites for anybody to attain Nibbana or Pacceka Buddhahood or Sammā Sambuddhahood. Now there are people who think that I want to attain Sotapanna, attain Nibbana, but they don't practice paramitas behind the scene, or maybe on the other hand. They think just by reading a book they can attain Nibbana. No, you can't do that. You must have fulfilled the practice. Right? Otherwise, how come our Bodhisattva, Siddhartha Bodhisattva took billions years of practice? Why did he spend that long time for us? Because without practicing that much, he could have not been able to attain Sammā Sambuddhahood. Remember, when the Mara challenged him, you cannot attain the Sammā Sambuddhahood. I don't like it. I disagree with you. Then he sent his 10 armies. He has 10 armies, right? What are they? Kama, Rati, Kama, Arati. Even hunger also is his army. Like when you have hunger, when you are hungry, it is an effect of his army. Yes, hunger and thirsty. You say, I'm very thirsty because Mara has affected you. One of his armies. I'm so hungry now. You had something just a while ago, but you still have Mara. Right? What else? Self-praise and putting down other people. Mara's enemy. Mara's armies. Because when you self-praise a lot, then what will happen is that you put other people down at the same time. Otherwise you can't put yourself up. They are all Mara's enemies. Buddha knows all that. Right? So he sent all these 10 armies, nothing worked out. Then he sent his beautiful 3 daughters. Nothing worked out. Then he himself went to see the Buddha. And then he said, this seat, Vajrasana, is not yours. This is mine. And the Buddha said, no, it is belong to a future Sammā Sambuddha. Then he said, okay, I'm going to see my evidence. And then he touched the earth. Then the earth gives lots of tremors, almost like an earthquake. That means this earth knows everything that is happening. Right? What he testified, his paramitas for billions years back. So I have fulfilled all the perfections to going to become a Sammā Sambuddha. Right? That is how he showed Mara about what you call his paramitas, past paramitas. How many paramitas are there though? Huh? Theravada has a different number, Mahayana has a different number. I always ask, who was the Buddha? Was Buddha Theravada or Mahayana? Nobody answers that. Buddha has no sectarian thing. Because these were just traditions who protected Buddhism. Right? Now, Sarvastivadas died out. Dharmaguptikas who lived in the northern Afghanistan, they died out. They were very much on different areas of Vinaya and Abhidharma. Only some Theravada branches were left. So, does that mean that we all have to just focus on one particular? No. We are Buddhist. We may have a root where we learn, but we are Buddhists. We respect Mahayana, Vajrayana, whatever the branches. So, Buddha is not Mahayana or Theravada. But Theravadins say Buddha is Theravada. Mahayana say Mahayana. Let them decide what it is, but Buddha is not Theravada or Mahayana. So, how many paramitas are there in Theravada? Huh? 10. Are they names or is that the particular number? There are few categories of paramitas in Theravada. 10 paramitas, 20 paramitas, 30 paramitas. All right, let me write that for you. 10 paramitas, one set. Some others have to fulfill 20, some others have to fulfill 30. Have you ever heard this before? Have you ever heard this categorization? Then how are you going to practice then? You have no idea what it is. What are these numbers? Okay. Who is practicing 10 paramitas? Oh, what's going on there? All right, I'm going to write again. All right, 10, 20. All right. Who is practicing 10 paramitas? Who is practicing 20? Who is practicing 30? If you want to become an arahant, you have to practice 10 paramitas. Right? Then if you want to become a Pacceka Buddha, you must practice 20 paramitas. Arahant, Pacceka Sambuddha. If you want to become a Sammā Sambuddha, you must practice 30 paramitas. Alright? At least today, feed your mind, this is the way that you are supposed to do things. Right? Alright. So what are the 10 paramitas? Dānaṃ sīlaṃ nekkhammaṃ paññā viriyena pañcamaṃ kanti sacca madittānaṃ mettu pekkāti medasa. Right over here. Dāna. Dānaṃ sīlaṃ. Sīla, second. Then nekkhamma. That is why I came here. See? It is a paramita. Perfection that every body who wants to become at least an arahant must practice. Dānaṃ sīlaṃ nekkhamma paññā. Then, sorry about that. Then viriya. Then paññā viriyena pañcamaṃ kanti. Then sacca. Then aditthāna. Then metta. Oh, metta is a perfection, na? Not your daily meditation though. This metta has to be something more expand. Then upekka. That's the highest quality in Buddhism. Not easy. Not that easy. Very challenging to people. So, one, okay, this way you. one. Can you all read all these 10? Dana, Sila, Nekkhamma, Aditthana. Okay. Upekka. All right. Now, these 10 are merely practiced by somebody who wants to attain Nibbana. Now, we all want to become an Arahant. So, we must have practiced Dana. We must have practiced Sila. We must have practiced Nekkhamma also. Greed is a problem. Then, we must have practiced some level of Panya. Ditti, Saṅkappa, they are Panya. Then, we must have practiced Viriya, energy, effort. We must have practiced patience a lot. We must have practiced truthfulness, trying to become a person who always try to speak the truth. We must have had resolutions, aditthana, determination. Then we must have practiced metta. Metta as an attitude, not just a meditation. You practice 1 hour metta meditation and then again you become angry. What's the purpose of that? Attitude. Now always talk with metta, think with metta, act with metta. That is metta. That 1 hour is also good, but it is not working for some people because they don't think it's an attitude. It's an attitude. You have to develop as an attitude, right? Always talk to people with metta. Always talk to, do actions with metta. Always think with metta initially. So everything else will become, that is metta here. Not that 1 hour meditation. Has to go more. Then upekka means equanimity. That means you are very balanced out. You are not moved by anything. Somebody blames you, somebody says good things. You have lots of upekka. You know where to stay. All right. Now this is Arahant. Then when a Pacceka Buddha is going to practice this, Pacceka Buddha practices this in 2 ways. All right. Clear? Even Pacceka Buddha cannot give Dhamma talks. The process is little complicated. So the first one, okay, let's say this is first one, every Arahant has to practice the first part. Right. Now I would give you an example. Let's say Dana Paramita. Dana has Dana Parami, Dana Upaparami. Dana Parami means offering external things, food, whatever the things that you have. Dana Upaparami means that you are going to donate sometimes blood. Not everybody can do that. Then signing up for organ donation. Right? So trying to one day donate some stuff like that, physical things, organ donation or blood donation kind of stuff. So this is the second level of the dana. We call upaparami. That one parami, upaparami second one. So the first level is the one which all Arahants have practiced to become Arahants, like if you want to practice. First and second, both level must be practiced by Pacceka Buddhas. Now you can see 2 multiplied by 10 going to be 20. Then what about the 30? Sammā Sambuddhas. They practice another layer. Right? What is that? Let's take this example. Dana. Dana Parami, Dana Upaparami, Dana Paramatta Parami. Let me write that for you here too. This is the first layer. Then second layer, Upaparami. Third layer, Paramatta Parami. Yeah, Parami, Upaparami, Paramatta Parami. Now, Paramatta Parami means sacrificing your life toward a good cause. Not a suicide. I would say Sammā Sambuddhas, Bodhisattvas, they take risk in order to help someone who is really worthy. So we have a lot of Jataka stories too. Now, if you take Sila, practicing Sila by donating external things sometimes. Actually, all these paramitas are connected with dana. First part is dana part. If you go to practice sila, then there is a dana part. What is dana part? You want to practice sila by giving external things, what you have. The second part of the sila is, you want to practice sila even you lose blood, you donate blood, you whatever physically happened to you. Then you want to practice Sammā Sambuddhasa. You want to practice sila paramatta parami, means even you sacrifice your life, but your main purpose is you want to practice sila. In the same way, that dana goes to all these things. If you take metta, I want to practice metta even by offering whatever I have in my life. Right? In that way, there are 30 paramitas that every bodhisattva has to practice. Then Pacceka Buddha is going to practice what you call 20 paramitas, only first 2. Arahants have to practice first 2. That means people like us. So, without practicing some level of these 10, never ever think about higher than that. So, this is a must, whatever in your amounts. You might think that, oh, all right, I may have practiced in my past life. Yes, it might work. But for most of us, it might not work because we never know what may have happened in the past life. All right, may I erase that part? Okay. So, nekkhamma is a paramita. That means renunciation of the pleasures. It is not that easy. Right? Can you renounce your pleasures easily? Not that easy. At least can you get rid of your greed part? Some people can't even make it. They are so much greedy about people and things. Karma is at least okay, even to a certain extent, but they have greed. So, nekkhamma means you are trying not to develop greed, basically. We all are naturally attached to sensuality. See, rupa, saddha, gandha, rasa, pottappa, dhamma. We always enjoy these karmas. So, each time when you enjoy one of all these excessively, what you develop is kama saṅkappa. You can still keep karmas without greed, although it's okay to enjoy a moderate amount of sensuality to live your lay life. It's important not to be greedy with them. That's what you are supposed to do, right? I have added some information here just to, otherwise you only learn theory and you don't know how to practice it. So I wrote down some stuff. This is what you can do for this. Otherwise you only, there is kama saṅkappa, there is abhyapat. Only theory part, right? So wrote just to understand what can we do now. So practice karmas without falling into greed. If we become greedy for karmas, that means if we have what you call kama saṅkappa, then it's going to be a part of tanha, kama, bhava, vibhava. We're going to be studying them later. That means we all have kama tanha. When you have tanha, then it will lead to upadana. Once you have tanha, it's a no point return place. It's like you are driving an intersection when the second light is already there, almost going to have the amber. You cannot stop. It's a no point return, the driving code. So it's in the same way, when you have tanha, definitely you are into upadana. You can't stop it. So we are going to cut down on tanha way before it happens, right? Obviously, we do not typically become greedy toward people and objects. That is what we are supposed to, greed. However, we only cling to our own notions of karmas regarding such persons. And actually, what is happening when we have karmas, especially when we have kama tanha or kama saṅkappa? The Buddha says in Anguttara Nikaya 663, Nate kama yani chitrani loke saṅkappa rago purisassa kamo tittanti chitrani tateva loke atetta dhira vinayanti chanda. The Buddha says there are no beautiful people or things in this universe. What do you think about it? But you call, this person is so good, so pretty, so handsome. It's a very beautiful scene. It's a very spectacular place. But the Buddha says there are no such people or such things. What is really existing is a conceptual lust that you are creating in your concepts. That is what exists. That's why somebody likes that person, but others don't like that person. If that person is really beautiful, everybody should like that person. Why is it? It's a conceptually driven thing. So Buddha says, not the beautiful sensual pleasures, that means rupa, saddha, gandha, rasa, pottabha, dhamma, found in the world, but the passion for his or her Saṅkappa is man's sensuality. Now here man's mean everybody, humans. Our sensuality is just a conceptualized thinking only. There are no really beautiful objects. The beauties remain as they are in the world, while the wise in this regard subdue their desire. So they are not even creating that conceptualization. So that's everything, no problem. So now I am connecting to Saṅkappa. Even karma is a Saṅkappa, because we think that there are beautiful people, beautiful things exist, but there are no beautiful people, no beautiful things. It's just a conceptualized thinking only. So then, if there are no beautiful people, beautiful things, is it easy to get rid of that thinking at the thinking level? It should be. Because when you get to touch something, you get more attached, more greedy for that object. Right? I think we discussed under two karmas, remember? Kilesa karma and vattu karma, remember? Don't remember? We discussed under karma one day, I think probably 2-3 weeks ago. I said these sensual pleasures are twofold: kilesa karma, vattu karma. Kilesa karma means now we only have a pleasure at the level of mind, but we haven't owned that thing. Maybe a person, maybe a thing. So it is good to keep it at that level and to get rid of it. But when you develop it to vattu, then it's little difficult to then get rid of it. Because the greed becomes more at that point. Now it doesn't mean any problem to any healthy relationships. You may go for them. But when you are touching that thing, person, then at that point, the greed will become more. But if you know where to maintain, where to stop, it's good, much better. When you have nekkhamma saṅkappa, you understand your karma saṅkappa well. Yeah.
Can we say that kilesa karma is tanha, and then vattu karma is attachment?
Well, karma tanha has everything, kilesa and vattu, both things. Yeah, when it becomes a tanha, it has everything. But karma
is just mentally.
Yeah, it is. It is also mental.
When it comes to attachment, the grasping, that is a vattu karma.
Yeah, on the surface you can think that tanha seems something mental. Yes, it is mental, but at that level is the fruition of kilesa and vattu karma. Both karmas, provision is tanha. But karma level, yes, then kilesa and vattu. But when it is developed, intensified into the tanha, it is the provision, the pinnacle of your karmas. You can't separate out them at that point, because it definitely turns to upadana at that point. No point return. That's how we have to understand. We separate out only at the level of karmas. But the karma turns into tanha. When it becomes tanha, you can separate it out, because that is the pinnacle. So that means your tanha has both developed under the kilesa and vattu. Yes. All right. That means you are developing thoughts of not becoming greedy, nekkhamma. Maybe sometimes not even attaching to karmas also, or renouncing. Renouncing does not necessarily mean not using sensuality. Some people take it wrongly. Renouncing to them is that all renouncing, like the Vesantara. You know Vesantara? King Vesantara? King Vesantara. You know the story of Vesantara? Vesantara Jataka story? He gave his wife to the Brahmin, he gave his children to the Brahmin. Is that an extreme kind of generosity, some folks? There is a man who thinks that I want to give my children and the family to somebody who needs them. What do you think about that generosity? That's a Jataka story. It is said the Bodhisattva gave all these people to others. Not even that. People are claiming, how come he donated the royal elephant? It's not his property, it's a public property, government property. How he gave the royal elephant to somebody. So there are issues with that generosity. That's why the Buddha says, renouncing does not mean that you are going to empty your physical things. You're still with a good relationship, still doing your chores, like that hunter's wife, Sotapanna wife. Huh? Still you do your things. Mentally, you are not having greed. But unfortunately, misunderstood people, they want to give everything away and then they want to leave everybody behind. That is going to be not the way that how we see in the text. Right? The Buddha says, renounce mentally your greed in terms of these people and things. Where is the problem? The problem is that this issue, let me probably show you. All right, so likes and dislikes. We all have likes and dislikes. And our likes and dislikes, when not really managed, they will become lobha and dosa. Like will become a lobha, greed. Dosa will become a hatred. Right? Can you give me an example of a like in your life? Let's say you want to eat this food. Right? It is a like. But when you are too serious about it, that you are trying to argue for it with somebody, I really want to go there, otherwise I'm not doing anything else, right? I only want to eat food from that particular sense. You are trying to create a greed. Maybe you are running into some other problems too. Big argument with others can become a lobha. Dislike means what you don't like. So if you are not managing them as they are, they will become lobha and dosa. If you are not managing them at that level too, they will become strong lobha, abhicca, and then ill will, vyapara. The reason why I wanted to mention you is that here, as I said to you, karmas, they have to be used very wise, right? That is the purpose here. So if you know this thing, all the strong greed are part of karma, and refraining from those strong karma is nekkhamma, so strong karmas. Some steps to practice, you could see that limiting greed for the people and things. I actually listed these couple of things, maybe 3 things, just to show something like practical in your life. Limit your greed for people and things. Moderate your intake of food, right? And stop the emotional eating. This is a place where we have lots of lobha actually for the food and drinks. So a lot of people, they run into emotional eating, compulsive eating. And then practice dana. Dana, when you say dana, it is a practice of all the paramitas. And then the second Saṅkappa, non-ill will. What is ill will? Ill will means thoughts of destroying other people. I'm not going to read everything because of the time. You can read it later, but I will give you some summary. So, non-ill will, we should try always to have thoughts of taking care of other people. Taking care of, saving other people. Then only you come up with avyapada saṅkappa. Right? So, that is also a very, very highly important. I think it is better than, it's not better than, it's more advanced than the nekkhamma saṅkappa. Right? What is the suggestion to practice avyapada saṅkappa? 4 Brahma Viharas. What are they? Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. If you practice these 4, you will definitely develop, create more avyapada saṅkappas. What is metta? Unlimited friendliness. Unlimited, not limited. Because when you develop metta, you can't have ill will at any point. Can somebody who practices metta have any enemies? Shouldn't have. Right? He or she shouldn't have, because that person knows even a thought of anger is a waste of my kusala practice. It's a waste of my kusala practice, because you create akusalas. Karuna means understanding the pain of others and being able to help out them. karuna. So when you do that, can you have ill will? Trying to protect people, take care of other beings, going to help them, whatever you want, in the proper right way. Mudita, wholesome, unselfish joy. You are truly happy about others' achievements. Can you have ill will about other people's success? Oh, this person is a rival to me. He did well, better than me in the company, at workplace, in the exam. Those are really not even unwholesome. They are really lowly level thoughts in the Dhamma. If somebody is coming up with jealousy, it's a very lowly level of thought. That means they have no practice. Each time you become angry, each time you become jealousy, tell yourself, my practice is not that standardized yet. I still have to work on it. Then you know where is the problem. Upekka, as I said earlier, it is the highest pinnacle of all the virtues in Buddhism. The root is patience. Upekka is the highest one. If somebody has upekka, that person should be a very strong person mentally, right? Remember that story, Bandula Mallika, right? Remember what happened while she was offering dana? She was offering dana to Arahant Sariputta. Then Arahant Sariputta and everybody heard somebody dropped a mug or something in the kitchen area with a big sound, noise. And then Arahant Sariputta told her, do not worry about things that happen in the kitchen, because everything is supposed to change one day. Then she said, Bhante, I got a letter from the war, because my husband and 30, 40, maybe her children went to the war. They all were dead just before, maybe a while ago. I put that letter in my lap and I'm still offering dana. See how strong is that mind? It's a mind to think that way. If that happens to you, what will happen to you? All your children gone with your spouse. Can you spend that moment? Your whole world will collapse, right? But she was still offering dana. She knew what happened, right? That upekka, right? It doesn't mean that crying, worrying is bad, but she has a very developed mindset to look at it, right? Upekka. All right, so that means we should have avyapada saṅkappas all the time. How do we do that? Through Brahma Viharas, 4 Brahma Viharas. Practice them simultaneously. Not 1 month you practice metta, next month you practice karuna, then they will go again. Because you do that one, no, practice simultaneously. How do I practice simultaneously? Let's say now I want to practice metta. In the next moment somebody is asking my help. I will become a karuna person at that point. Then in another hour I get to hear someone pass an examination, someone works well, got promoted. Then I practice mudita. Then finally somebody is criticizing me at the end of the day. So I practice upekka. So all come in the same package. Right? Not that I practice 1 month of metta, 1 month of, no, you won't make it. Never you won't make it. But Noble Eightfold Path, yes, it's a very descriptive one. You have to take time, and then also finally simultaneously. Right? Otherwise it's not going to work. Then final saṅkappa is avihimsa saṅkappa. That means harming other people. Now when you have ill will, definitely you will harm other people. So when you have no ill will, you will take care of other beings all the time. All right. Sammā saṅkappa is very important because it is the place where we create our speech. If you want to be very good in your speech, Sammā saṅkappa. All right, additional reading. There is a word called vitakka in Pali. Vitakka also means kind of a saṅkappa, but we take it differently. So you have to understand that saṅkappa is the intention. This intention arises as a result of your ditthi. So start your path with Sammā Ditthi. So your intentions are going to be right intention, Sammā saṅkappa. Any questions, some folks? Yeah. So we have a mic over there, so we can give the mic to you. Right? Oh, you have a question.
Actually, I got two questions.
Okay.
Short one.
Mm.
First one is, if we tell white lies, but with a good intention to maintain harmony, okay? So the question is, will it be a karma?
Can you repeat again? I didn't hear that part. Can you repeat the question?
The question is, if we tell a white lies with the intention to maintain harmony,
I don't hear the first part. White lies. Okay, good.
yeah,
Good.
for the intention to maintain harmony. So is there a karma if there is?
Depends on the situation.
Okay?
It depends on the situation. Why do you have to make a white lie? I don't call it a white lie. I call it I call it a lie, another form of lie. But some people call it compassionate lie. I would call it a lie, technically a lie, but karmically not a lie. Technically a lie, because on the surface a lie. But as you said, harmony. But what harmony is that? Can you tell me the nature of the harmony? It's a workplace or family?
To avoid a divorce or
Okay. Yeah. Nobody likes that separation, right? So, yes, to protect their life, their relationship. Yes.
So my
Yeah.
second is,
But one day, if they are really in good terms, you can tell that I lied, technically. Because you don't need to have any remorse about it. It's technically a lie, even though it's not karmic. Yeah.
the second is the last thought
Chutichitta.
during our last breath, does it determine our rebirth?
You asking me there's a gap between Chutichitta and Patisandhichitta, the last thought and the first thought of the next life.
Yeah.
There's no gap. Only the Vajrayana Buddhists talk about there is a state called Bardo. But in Theravada, early Buddhism, there's no gap. Once you pass away, then you are born. Yes, that is what we see in the text. I haven't experienced that. In the text, you're asking from the text, right? So we have to die to know that, right? So that is what we see. Once you are dead, you are born. There's no gap between those two. Yeah. Before dying, you have to live first. That is what a lot of people forget. Maybe their life could be miserable, but try to make it pleasant. According to Dhamma, materially it could be miserable, but spiritually you have to enrich that life, nurture that life. Yeah. Questions from newcomers? Anybody who came here today for the first time? Or anybody else? We'll take one more minute and we'll transfer the good karmas after. Yes. The mic, please. Yeah. You can pass the mic. Yeah.
What is the Tanha question?
Tanha.
So when we say we can cut off the link, the 12 link, we cut at the Tanha, or can we cut at the Vedana also, the grasping?
Yeah.
Because Tanha is love, it's something that we want to do. The grasping is the attachment. So if I have the desire, but I have no attachment to something, that is also possible. Let's say durian, I like durian so much, but I have no attachment to the durian I can cut. I still can manage to control.
Let's say, okay, can I ask you a question back? You like durians, but you have no attachment to durians. But
I mean, I managed to
yeah, does it mean
my desire.
yeah, does it mean that you eat 30 durians, but still I don't have attachment? Can we take that way too? Now you said that you like durians, but you have no attachment to durian, right? That's what you said. So if you take on the other hand, that means somebody can say I like 30 pineapples. Pineapples, maybe he eat 30, but still I have no attachment. That example is going to be something.
Attachment, but I have no action taken.
Actually, in that example, what is more important is not even the greed. I think greed involves excessiveness. Excessiveness, definitely. So I think you have to go for healthy karmas. Even let's say you eat that particular fruit, you know where to stop. That boundary has to make first. Then you know that you are not transforming your karmas into greed. That is how we look at it. So we have to always look at the transition between karma to tanha from a kind of a quantitative approach. That is where the quality lies. Because sometimes people might think I overeat, but I have no attachment, no greed. Right? So there should have a boundary to everything. The Buddha says moderation. Moderation is boundary. What the Buddha said to King Kosala and other people. So the transition between karma to tanha, to what I understand in the text, is that you know where to stop your karmas. You know the level of your karmas. You know how to stop in time. And you are not become a slave to karmas. That's a good one. You're not going to be a slave to karmas. Some people say, I cannot live without this person. I cannot live without this particular thing. You are not bringing your karmas to that level. Can you live without durians? You should be, right? You should be. And then you have no greed. It will not turn to tanha. Tanha is the larger version of greed. Greed is still before tanha. Yeah. So that's how we have to look at it. So we have to look at it from a boundary, like a limit as well. So karma and tanha, it's a long process. During that you see lobha too.
But I think there's a difference between tanha and upadana.
Yeah, I will explain to you. Can you pass the mic too? Yeah, because it's not clear to the camera.
Sorry, what is the difference between tanha and upadana?
Okay.
What degree of tanha?
Yes. Yes. Tanha is kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. That means you are craving for karmas, you are craving to be born again, and you are craving to a notion that you are not going to be reborn. But when you take it from the Four Noble Truths, that is tanha. But if you look at the patissamuppada, that process, once you have tanha, you are creating a very strong clinging to that, upadana. That means you are not easily able to go away from that clinging. So tanha is a sort of a peak point of your desire. So that peak point should not be approached by anybody. That is what the Buddha says. Once it becomes the peak point, it will go to upadana. Upadana means that you are grasping, you are so much grasping. You know that this is what you want. So there should be a separation between tanha and upadana. So upadana works in a very, you already identify what you want. You are not trying to let go, not trying to renounce that. Does that make sense?
So can I understand it as upadana is a higher degree of tanha, where it doesn't
No, tanha is the higher degree, highest degree of your lobha.
is higher degree.
Tanha is the highest degree of kama, lobha and all these desires. What will happen to you when you have tanha is upadana. Make sense? Now, the highest level of your lobha, kama, whatever, all those attachment stuff is tanha. Once you hit that tanha, that level, then you will do something, right? After that? That functioning, that process is upadana. Your action after tanha is upadana. Right? Okay, one more question. Yeah, please. We'll finish after that. Yeah, make it short so we can save time.
Thanks, Bhante, for the session. Bhante, I have one question. It's actually very difficult to bring back to the balance. Like you said, we have to have metta, we have to have all of those things like kindness.
We should try. Yeah.
But if we are getting distracted with the environment, how to come back? Actually, people around putting us down, and it hurts really so bad. Make myself feel like I'm not worth enough. Because to be honest, like one of my best friend, he said if he got my brain, he would have become a millionaire by this time. It really hurt so much, and he said like you are wasting your things. He's like kind of a competition, and why you are not making any money? I felt like because in our society we always have like by this age you should have this thing. By this age you should reach this point. You have got all the knowledge and talent, but you have not reached up to what I have expected. It is this expectation. To be honest, like I was doing so much before, but I'm not doing now because I think like I don't want to run into such kind of things. I'm focusing on like the more kindness and what good thing I can do, how best I can become myself rather than comparing with others. But my friends, my family members, if they only are like looking me down, it actually makes me feel so bad.
All right. A short answer because of the time. I would say sometimes we cannot change others. Even the people who are with us sometimes. They will become angry, they will become defensive, right? Society, it might be a very difficult thing, right? So in Buddhism, what we understand through these 4 Brahma Viharas is that we are creating our spirituality, our mind to understand what is going on and not to react to them in the same bad way. We are creating a different self by experiencing all these people. That is what we are supposed to do. Whatever happens in my life, in your life, in all of your life, you are trying to respond to them with metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha. It might be difficult on the surface level, but when you understand why they are doing, maybe they have gone through some bad experiences too. They are trying to return them to you. Bullying and all these things, if they were good people, they might not do that. Maybe you can find good people, kalyana mittas, friends, right? You always can make choices. It's a choice too. All right? Okay, so let's transfer good karmas now. May all the good karmas that we accumulated today be transferred to departed ones. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. May Deva, Naga, Mahidika receive all these good karmas. May they share all these good karmas. May they protect and bless all of you for good health, quality of life, prosperity and safety. May Deva, Naga, Mahidika also finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ettavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba saṅkappa siddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba saṅkappa siddhya. Ettavatāca ammehi sambataṃ puñña sampaдаṃ sabbe sattā anumodantu sabba saṅkpatti siddhiyā ākāsattā ca bhummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā ciraṃ rakkhaṃtu loka sāsanaṃ ākāsattā ca bhummattā devā puññantaṃ anumoditvā ciraṃ rakkhaṃtu desanaṃ ākāsattā ca bhummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā ciraṃ rakkhaṃtu maṃ paranti ciraṃ rakkhaṃtu tvaṃ sadāti. Let's make a great wish. May we be in the company of the noble friends, Kalyana Mitras, till we attain the Nibbana. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Finally, may all the good karmas which you've been accumulating today throughout the time be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminchato. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And next Sunday there will be a retreat. I hope some of you know, and I think we're almost at the level of 99 probably attend. 99 people sign up, so I don't think that there will be more people that can take to this retreat. 100 will be the capacity, I think, in this hall and for the meditation practices. So if you're coming down to the retreat, I will see you, and then we will explore more. And otherwise, I'm going to see you next Monday for Sammā Vāca. Have a good night.